this past Monday, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and the like lost their existence in the world, and everyone lost their minds. And so let's cover that today.
I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money. The pressure be calling. Left on my blessings. I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something. That's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone and affection. I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through them.
Welcome back to another episode of the Problems on Problems podcast. I am your host, Mike Santi, aka Rich Uncle, aka Thick Boy, aka your parents' favorite podcaster, aka Pay My Bills on Time, aka Latino Heat, aka I regret saying that last one, aka the Hooded Houdini himself. Back with another episode covering God knows what happened in the news this week. And really, we'll start off with the fact that on Monday, October 4th, 2021, Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp servers went down for about 10 hours. And it's not really just the server. It was the DNS. Is it the DNS? The thing that tells the internet where to go when searching Facebook's website, like the actual numbers involved with it, that all went down. Facebook's domain was up for sale, all this other stuff. And it's kind of coincidental because this came the morning after a very interesting 60-minute interview, an interview on 60 Minutes, where a former Facebook data scientist, Frances Haugen, is that right? Yep, that was right. Frances Haugen was the whistleblower on a lot of things for Facebook. Literally, gosh, everything from the fact that they've been lying about how they use information, how they keep what's the word? How they keep propagating hate speech, bullying, misinformation, body dysmorphia, all the things that, you wouldn't want a social media platform to do. Facebook's been doing it, and they know they've been doing it, and they've just been lying to everybody about it. And this woman was courageous enough to mount thousands of pages of evidence over the course of gosh knows how long, so that she had receipts basically, so that nobody could be able to question whether or not this claim was valid or not. And so she quickly found out in her career. Now, this isn't like some just Joe Schmo off the street or whatever. Frances has been, she's worked at Yelp, she's worked at Google, she's done some other stints at a lot of other big platforms, we'll say. So it's not like she's just some person, some data scientist from wherever. She's spent time in all these major companies and goes over to Facebook and realizes that everything's fucked in the sense that Facebook it harms children, it sows division, it undermines democracy. What was the phrase? Undermines democracy in the pursuit of breakneck growth, according to an article written in NPR. And God, we're talking thousands of documents in the sense that literally, so she's going, by the time this video comes out, she has already testified in Congress this week about what's going on with Facebook. She's handed over these thousands and thousands of pages to about 600 journalists to kind of comb through, go over. Way more to come. And within these thousands of documents, there's hard evidence that Facebook is out here perpetuating the misinformation, the hate speech, the bullying, everything that the last time Zuckerberg talked to Congress and said Facebook is harboring blah, 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 and bringing communities together. And we understand how important it is for you to stay connected. All that shit out the window, which, are we surprised? Are we really surprised by this in the sense that, do we really think that robot Zuckerberg is out here really trying to help everybody stay connected? Or do you think the billionaire, the America's youngest billionaire, whatever it may be, is not out to make profit? Do you think he has the empathy of a human being? Because I've yet to see that. That being said, the reason, if you couldn't figure this out by now, the reason why Facebook is actively doing all this stuff is because they want your engagement. More engagement means more numbers, more eyeballs, and the longer that you're on there means that they can sell more ads and make more money. It's not that surprising that a social media platform would use this. The big part about it is that homeboy lied under oath to the Senate on questioning things about literally what you're seeing now. man Zuck got up on there, said his piece, said that, oh, Facebook is out here connecting communities and all that stuff. Meanwhile, you know that this is exactly what they're doing. There's an experiment run where if you start off a profile and all you did was follow Donald Trump, you followed Republicans, like a Facebook group, you followed a couple other things, like literally 3 things or so, within days, you would be getting like full right wing, like conspiracy theory. We're talking like very close, like neo-Nazi kind of stuff. You would get that promoted onto your Facebook page, in which Facebook is saying that they're like, oh no, we actively like monitor this and like ban most of that stuff. And what the stat came out is that like they're really only doing this to about like 3 to 4% of the actual misinformation. We'll say the bad stuff. All the bad stuff that Facebook says that they're actively trying to like go against, they really only are monitoring about like 3 to 4% of that. Not monitoring, they're taking action against 3 to 4% of that. When Haugen went on to the Senate, she then testified that the result has been, and I don't want to mess this one up, but the result has been more division, more harm, more lies, more threats, and more combat. In some cases, this dangerous online talk has led to actual violence that harms and even kills people. And we're talking, I don't know, if you want to talk the insurrection, you want to talk about, side note, if you think it was anything other than an insurrection, just leave now. Like, this isn't ever going to work. But the insurrection, oh gosh, in Virginia, the Proud Boys, Mr. Little Tiki Torches, you know, those things, events like that, in which case, like, it's more or less just more the same thing. Facebook's going to go on polar sides because they want you engaged. They want you fighting because they want more money. That's all it is. And at this point in time, I mean, we all know, like, Facebook is really just a spot for your, we'll say for your older relatives who want to act up and say some crazy shit. It's really for them. I've yet to, like, the last time I was on Facebook, I literally made it 3 posts before I saw something political, something adverse. And why? Like, I mean, it happens on other social media platforms. I just feel like Facebook being the giant that it is, and having those kind of forums, you'd think they'd be a little bit more responsible. But that is not true. And so, oh yeah, the last part of this is that she was saying that, like, the company intentionally hides vital information from the public, from the U.S. government, and from governments around the world. This isn't just like a small thing. Like, Facebook has been under the microscope before and have kind of weaseled their way out, squirmed their way out, whatever you want to call it, only to come right back under the spotlight. And on top of that, Frances isn't the first, or I should say, Ms. Haugen is not the first whistleblower to come forward and saying stuff like this about Facebook. Like, there have been several others, and the only difference is that Homegirl had the evidence. Like, she had the receipts. Everyone else has just been saying, like, oh, you got to look into it. And Facebook, under investigation, you can quickly hide shit. Like, you know your own house better than somebody else. You can make stuff go away, especially if you're a multi-billion-dollar company. And this is the one time that there was, like, irrefutable evidence, like emails, statistical analyses, we'll say, investigations, all this other stuff that literally shows you Facebook's out here just trying to divide you even more, which is honestly crazy because I didn't think people use Facebook. That's not true. People my age don't use Facebook that much. I just didn't think Facebook was still that poppin'. Like, I knew that's where, like, all the shit went down, but I legitimately thought it was, like, you know, middle-aged people doing their thing, arguing back and forth, getting into, like, crazy organizations. But there's still way more to come. And the best part about this all is that Robot Zuckerberg, my man is out here. I don't know why I keep calling him Robot Zuckerberg. Maybe because he doesn't have, like, emotions, but, like, Voldemort, if you want to call him that. Man in sunscreen, look it up. Yeah. Dude is out here. Basically, what did he say? Just like a fucking supervillain that he is. He said, it's disheartening to see that work has been taken out of context and used to construct a false narrative that we don't care. To which I say, you don't care. You don't care. Mark, buddy, pal, you don't care. There's not maybe there's a fiber or two, but you genuinely don't care. You don't care more about the well-being of people over you do the money that's dumping into your bank accounts. left and right. Trust me, you're not going to convince anybody otherwise. And the fact that there's this much, evidence against you will really, I would love to see how you like squirm your way out of this one. Like that's going to be the fun part, is watching the aftermath of that comes of this, because not only will there be future hearings, future Senate hearings, future investigations, there's going to be very little room for him to hide when there's actual proof. Like, it's like if somebody, let's do the extreme example. It's like if you caught your ex, if you caught your significant other with text messages to somebody else, pictures, all that other stuff. Basically, the only thing you haven't done is walked in on them. Which, I mean, what do we know about that? We don't know anything. Not like episode 1, but imagine all those receipts and then your significant other saying, no, we're just friends. It's not even like that. You're overreacting. That's completely out of context. Be like, I think I know what we're looking at here. And we're going to keep looking, or pause. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into this. And then on top of that, Facebook is flat out just like exploiting kids. Like they're using algorithms. They're using algorithms that amplify these teenagers' insecurities, like the body dysmorphia, the eating disorders, all that stuff that hormone-riddled children, teenagers, have to deal with. Facebook's only using their algorithms, not only using, but they're using their algorithms to like further perpetuate those type of images and issues within the child community, the teenage community. Like, I don't know what more you need to be like, yeah, this is a bad thing. I'm not saying that like Facebook used in a bad way obviously will lead to bad stuff. I'm just saying, if you're going to go around thinking that you're like better than everybody else, saying that you're like connecting people and all that other stuff, maybe have a little bit more, not evidence that you're a fucking evil enterprise. But I think the interesting part about this, the fun fact, if you will, is that whistleblowers actually get a portion of the money from fines imposed by the government that were due to their whistleblowing. So to say that in a less complicated way, because that made sense, for every fine that the government charges Facebook based off of whatever they end up doing, finding, investigating, any fines that they send Facebook's way, Frances will get a portion of that. So oddly enough, she will more than likely become a billionaire based off of being a snitch. And in which case, if that's honestly, you know what? I think we all just need to establish the fact that like when we say don't stitch or no snitching, I predominantly mean don't tell the cops. Last I checked, the Senate ain't the cops and Facebook ain't the homie. So I would snitch too. I would snitch before it was some crazy kind of scandal or whatever, or before there was like money involved. But also knowing that I'm going to make a pretty penny, I would make sure that all my stuff was in line. But all that to say that the aftermath of this interview led to Facebook being completely down almost the entirety of Monday, which honestly, not that bad. If we had to really talk about it, the fact that like Instagram didn't work, Facebook didn't work, WhatsApp didn't work, that's all good and dandy in the sense that it kind of reminds you like, hey, you don't have to be on social media all the time, but maybe unplug a little bit, connect with your people in person, do stuff like that. The healthy shit that we've been talking about. The memes were flying left and right. The fact that like Twitter even took to the internet to be like, yo, everybody okay? Because I know y'all ain't using anything else except for me right now. But the idea to disconnect from the internet and to be able to just be like, yo, let me focus on what actually matters, the people around me, all that good stuff. Oof, it'll be super interesting to see what comes of that. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to do the thing that we always do, and then that'll be it. We'll do the thing we always do. Yeah. We'll take a break, come back, do the debate, do the wrap up, do the follows, and then we'll go from there.
P.O.P.
And we're back with the great debate. Last episode, I asked you, would you rather know how you die or when you die? And I believe my phone's not connected over here, but I believe 55% of you said when you die. And to that, I say, what are you talking about? Why? Like, what? I don't get it. Let me take you down my path. I'm under the understanding that I would much rather know how I die. And it's not for the reasons that you think. Because I think a lot of people that told me they would want to know how they die did it so that they could avoid how they die. And in which case I say, have you not seen Final Destination? Like, have you not grown up being completely traumatized by log trucks on the highway because of that movie? I'm telling you, that was Final Destination 2, but don't worry about it. I'm not saying I want to know how so I can avoid it, because let's say the how is like, oh, you die, you drown. Am I going to avoid just bodies of water for the rest of my life now because I don't know when I'm going to drown? Like, that's going to be a miserable life. I want to know how I die because that's way less anxiety. To me, at least, it's way less anxiety to know how I die than to have an expiration date, like, punched on my life card, if you want to call it that. The fact that I have to now live my entire life knowing that I have X amount of years, whatever. And to the Gary V's of the world that say, oh, I want to know that because I'm going to die and I want to know like what that is so I can live my life to the fullest. I would challenge you to basically, I don't know, live your life to the fullest now, because guess what? You're going to die eventually, and no amount of time is going to change that. All it's going to change is like your mentality as to how much of life you want to enjoy while you're here, because at the end of the day, we're all going to die. You already have that expiration date. So what are you doing with the life that you have? We dropping truth bombs out here, but I would rather know how I die than when I die. Apparently I'm in the minority and 55% of you guys think the other way, but that's cool. This week, I'm going to ask you guys, what's the best social media platform? Barring any 10-hour outages or anything like that, or just disappearances or whatever. And I'm going to go off of the top 4, just based off of numbers. And so out of the 4, which do you think is the best social media platform? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the polls. Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to lean more towards the Instagram/YouTube side. Really anything that I could post videos on, because like literally look at this right now. You're watching me on video or listening to me. But yeah, I'd rather go there. I'd probably go YouTube because I spend more of my time there and Instagram, but we'll see. Let me know in the comments. Let me know the polls, and we'll go over it next week. But with that brings us to the Friday follows. This is a big ups to Mr. Shawn McIntosh, the new and first chief fan officer of Charlotte FC. Charlotte FC has a chief fan officer, and that man is Shawn McIntosh. You can follow him at Shawn McIntosh on Instagram. He will be the liaison directly from the president of the club and the owner and the fans. That's it. There's nobody else in between them. It's literally just going to be him the entire time. So big shout out to him for earning that position, getting on board with that. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the team. But yeah, make sure you go follow him at Shawn McIntosh. And then the next place, people, I don't know, Black Moth Bar, Camp North End's only bar, and North Carolina bar, Charlotte bar, all that stuff of inside an Airstream camper. So if you want to get cocktails, drinks, and all that good stuff outside of a camper, head over to Camp North End. Follow them at Black Moth Bars on Instagram. But with that, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe on the Problems on Problems YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us at Problems on Problems Podcast on Instagram, at Problems_pod on Twitter. And per usual, follow your boy Mike Santi 18 on all social media. But like I always say, guys, if it's not a good time, hope it's a good story, and I will see you next week.